Okay, so good evening again. My name is Cynthia Ryder. I'm a librarian here at Burlingame Public Library, and it is my pleasure to introduce this extremely accomplished panel of speakers this evening. Junaedi Setiyono is an award-winning author of 3 historical novels, 2 of which have been published by Dowling Publishing. June started his literary career writing short stories for newspapers and magazines, and his first novel, Gelanggang, won the Jakarta Art Council Novel Writing Award in 2006. A few years ago, the library was delighted to host a talk for his 3rd historical novel, Dasamuka, which won the 2020 Literary Award presented by the Indonesian Ministry of Culture and Education. And in addition to writing, June was awarded a scholarship by Ohio State University to conduct research as part of his doctorate degree in language education, which he received from an Indonesian university. Currently, he's working on his next novel and lives in Central Java with his wife and 2 children. And then tonight, we're going to be discussing his 4th novel, Temang Dem Peorong, or in English, which will be much better for me, Panji's Quest. Sorry. And then, so our second speaker is the man responsible for translating Panji's Quest into English and allowing us English speakers to discover it. Oni Suryaman has translated about half a dozen short stories for Dowling's website. While working in education and as a translator, Oni has published research papers in Indonesia on science fiction topics, including an analysis of Snow Crash by Neil Stevenson. He also published a children's picture book, E Balak, based on a Balinese folktale. The book was performed in a dramatic adaptation at the Asian Festival of Children's Content in Singapore. He lives with his wife and his children near the city of Yogyakarta, pursuing his love of education and writing and watching the Star Trek series. You guys can all guess which Star Trek series he likes the best. And then finally, we get to the reason why we're all gathering today. We have Leanne Gao of Dowling Publishing to thank for this evening. Leanne is the heart and powerhouse behind the company. Her energy and focus are inspiring, and as we all know, she encourages everyone in her circle to give their full effort. For more than a decade, she selected the best of Indonesian literature, found talented translators, and made it available to American audiences. Thank you, Leanne, and I'm very excited for all of our guests in the United States, in Indonesia, perhaps elsewhere, to learn about Panji's Quest and to hear from the 3 of you. So thank you and welcome. Yay.
Thank you very much, Cynthia. But I've been getting nervous because people are pinging in the to get in. I thought that Agam was supposed to take over when you are doing other things.
I think he did. I think he's let people in.
Really? Because
Yes.
I don't see them getting in.
They're coming in.
That's good.
They're coming in.
All right, just let me mind my own business then and get back to my task, which is number 1, thanking you very much for adding Panji's Quest to the Burlingame Library collection and once again hosting Dalang. You've been doing that for all the 12 titles that we have, and you know, being grateful, it's such a very small world for what it really encompasses, because I am grateful, Cynthia, for all these years of your support.
Thank you.
I really thank you for that. So
we are
thank
you, going to do a little your presentation. We'll shift into Oh, I know. Oh, I'm sorry. We have an exciting thing, the book giveaway.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
let me do some housekeeping before we get into the presentation part. And the book giveaway, I am very excited to say that we have a very nice book giveaway for this event. All of you listen up, because you won't get anything unless you sign up for it. Okay, so where are my books? Here they are.
Well, I have one of them. I
You
don't know
have
if it'll
one.
come through.
You have
I have one of them.
Okay, so we have Panji's Quest, which we
Mhm.
are featuring today, and then we have Tembang and Perang, where it all came from. Now, Panji's Quest, this is our event. So Dalang Publishing is giving away one door prize, and also I am discounting the books for today and tomorrow at $15 flat, no tax, no shipping cost. The publisher for the original, for Tembang dan Perang, is matching me. And Cynthia and I are both very grateful to Canisius to be doing this.
Yeah.
And I am wondering if Weedy is amongst us here. Is Weedy amongst us here? Can you check, Cynthia? Because
I do.
Widianto,
Yes.
where are you? Come up, please.
I'm here.
He's here.
Where are you? There you are.
I see him. I
Okay.
see him. I don't know if you do, but I see him. Thank
Weedy,
you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Where are you? Thank you so much. Can he be
Sure.
on for a little bit? Can we feature him for a little bit?
Yes, we can spotlight.
Okay.
Okay.
There he is. Because we have to spotlight a generous man. You know, he gifted one copy of Tembang dan Perang for the Indonesian people who are present, and he is also discounting Tembang dan Perang for the same 2 days. So you have to register for that either today at the latest tomorrow to get the discount for rupiah 92,000. I always struggle with all the zeros. 92,000. Benar ya, Vidi?
Yeah, benar, Bu.
I don't
Yes,
want to
that's
make a
correct.
mistake here. 92,000 for Tembang dan Perang, Indonesia only. And unless I take that back, okay, I'm going to make this really complicated now.
Okay.
Unless you want to wait until July or August, when someone is moving, is coming to America, and we can have them take it for us, because it's not financially feasible to send it by post. So if you are willing to wait, American people here, then you can sign up for Tembang dan Perang as well, because he is giving it one copy for Indonesia, one copy for the United States. But the United States will have to wait until August. Now, the other one, Panji's Quest, I'm doing the same thing. The discount is $15 for Americans only. I don't sell it in Indonesia. So the sale is for Americans only. The gift is available as well in Indonesia, but you need to sign up. So please, anyone interested in receiving a door prize or taking Canisius and Dalang up to the discounted price for 2 days, sign up. You need to write down in the chat your name.
Oh no. They're gonna email. Remember?
Yes.
Sorry.
Thank you.
We're making it. We want to make it a little more private.
Yeah. Email to dalangpublishing@gmail.com.
I have it in the chat for everybody.
Okay, and we need your name, your email I will have,
Yeah.
and where you are. You don't have to tell me a short story. You just say USA or Indonesia. That's all I need to know. And the email has to be dated today or tomorrow. After that, the gates close. And you know, when
Okay.
I say that, I mean it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so
So now then we can go on with our real task at hand.
I'm going to share my screen and from beginning, there we go. Awesome. These are all of Leanne's books, all of her babies.
All my babies, all 12 of them. And hopefully I'll give birth to 2 more by the end of this year. You all just sent me good vibes for that. All right then, are we ready?
We are ready.
We
Yes.
are ready? Okay. Well, for those in Indonesia, this is probably very rote, but since we are in America and this is an American event, and one of my goals is to introduce our country to an American audience, I always like to start my presentations with giving a very brief summary about some general facts about Indonesia, as well as give you a glimpse of the island of Java, where the capital Jakarta is located, and our story, Panji's Quest, is set.
Okay. Sorry.
Indonesia was a Dutch colony for 350 years. It proclaimed its independence on August 17, 1945. In 1922, the Dutch banned the flag as it was flown by the Indonesian activists. But in 1928, the flag was flown again by the Indonesian Nationalist Party. My personal experience regarding our flag's colors is that after the revolutionaries tore the royal blue of the Dutch flag, which is red, white, and blue, our Sang Saka Merah Putih, the lofty right and back of the Indonesian flag, was left. The red represents the courage and the blood that was shed to overthrow the Dutch colonial regime, and the white represents peace and honor. The official first flag was flown at the declaration of Indonesia's Independence Day by President Sukarno on August 17, 1945. It was hand-sewn by his wife, Fatmawati, and the flag was flown for the last time on August 17, 1968, and is now stored at the Presidential Palace for safekeeping. The Garuda Pancasila is Indonesia's coat of arms. The Garuda, the Indonesian eagle, carries in his talons a scroll which is the Indonesian national motto. It reads, Bhinneka Tunggal Ika, and it means unity in diversity. The crest on his chest shows the 5 principles of the Indonesia's national philosophy. In the center, we have a star that stands for the belief in one and only God. Then the chain here stands for a just and civilized humanity. The banyan tree stands for the unity of Indonesia. The bull here stands for democracy. And the rice hull and cotton balls here stand for social justice for all the people of Indonesia. Indonesia is the world's largest archipelago. It's 17,508 plus islands straddle the equator, with in the north, the Pacific Ocean and the Philippines, and in the south, the Indian Ocean and Australia. The Dutch used to refer to this colony as the Gordel van Smaragd, which translates into the belt of emeralds. Indonesia has 5 main islands: Sumatra, Java, the island of Kalimantan that we share with Malaysia, the island of Sulawesi, and our part of Papua. Then it has 2 inner archipelagos, the Maluku Islands, right in this pocket, and then here, Nusa Tenggara Timur, which are also known as the Lesser Sunda Islands. All the little islands that come after Bali and that go all the way up to Papua. The capital, Jakarta, and the government seat are on the island of Java, which is divided into 6 provinces. Java is the world's 13th largest, most populated island. 130 million people live in an area the size of New York State. And when you are landing on a clear day at the Soekarno-Hatta International Airport, as the plane lands, you'll be greeted by bent swaying coconut trees and Indonesia's fields of gold, which are our rice paddies. And then, briefly, you will see the coffee and tea plantations that cover most of Indonesia's mountain slopes. Panji's Quest, Oni Suryaman's English language translation of Tembang dan Perang by award-winning author Junaedi Setiyono, is set in East Java. The story is a part of UNESCO's documentary series, Memory of the World. The Panji cycles were included in those chronicles on October 31st, 2017. Panji's Quest is a historical novel based on one of the Panji states, a popular Javanese folklore. The story is set in 12th century ancient Java, when the legendary king Erlangga ruled over the kingdom of Medang in the eastern part of the island. Internal strife not only divided the kingdom in two, it also subjected the people to decades of war. By design, Tembang dan Perang sheds light on the current political situation worldwide, as everywhere, the general population is still subjected to intrigue from people in higher power. The story also portrays life in ancient Java, with detailed descriptions of all strata of life, from commoner to king, as well as the social hierarchy and religious beliefs of that era. Author Setiyono skillfully entwines all these elements into the plot. I have some visuals here, and I hope that they will arouse your curiosity in the book. This map is of East Java here, is part of the book's front material. The darkened area is the kingdom of Kadiri, this area here. And then the lighter area is the kingdom of Janggala. You'll be able to find the places mentioned in the story on this map. You can also see, Cynthia, can you go back 1 second, please? You can also see the proximity here between where Panji crosses to Bali. This is the city of Banjarwangi, and this is the island of Bali. So he just hopped across the Strait of Bali. All right, the port of Banjarwangi, the city I just pointed out on the map, where Panji crossed to Bali, look the way here on this picture, it could have been during that time. Please note that none of these boats are motorized, and in the background here you can see some of the simple buildings, hovels almost, that are dwellings. On the next picture, you will see more of the same, a little bit more clearer than in the first picture. And if you keep this in mind and then compare it to what it looks like right now, what a difference. And then here you can see clearly the island of Bali across the Strait of Bali. So with no cameras available during Panji's time, the stories have been recorded on temple reliefs such as these. This is the angsana tree and the angsana flower, which play a big part in the story that centers around the murder on a beautiful beach near Kamal Harbor, something that looks like this. The scene that we are going to read, Junaedi will read a few lines of the Indonesian, just so that the American audience here can kind of get an idea of what the story sounds like in its original language. And then Oni Suryaman will read the entire paragraph in English. So you also get a feel of what the English translation sounds like. The scene we have chosen for the reading is that of the king of Janggala ordering his sister to separate Panji from his wife, so he can execute his plan to murder her. The king hopes that by doing away with Panji's wife, Panji will agree to marry the crown princess of the Kadiri kingdom, and so unite the kingdoms of Kadiri and Janggala. June, can you please read for us?
Yeah. Thank you, Ibu Lian. Let me read from this book. Baginda Raja Janggala sedang duduk berhadap-hadapan dengan Rara Suci di ruang dalam istana. Mereka tengah membicarakan perihal kawinnya sang putra mahkota dengan anak perempuan Patih Udanawarsa. Perkawinan yang menuai persoalan berat bagi istana. Benarkah Panji tidak mau beristri lagi sesudah kawin dengan Anggreni? Tanya Baginda Raja dengan wajah tidak percaya. Tidak salah, Dinda. Memang itulah yang saya dengar dengan kedua telinga saya dari mulut Panji sendiri. Jelas Rara Suci.
Thank you, June. Thank
You're
you
welcome,
very
Ibu.
much. Oni, can you take the floor now, please?
Okay, now I'm going to read the entire section of the part Pak Jun has read in English. In the palace hall, King Amiluhur of Janggala and his sister Rara Suci discussed the marriage of Crown Prince Panji to Anggreni, the daughter of Patih Kudanawarsa, a marriage that was creating serious problems for the court. Is it true that Panji doesn't want to take another wife after marrying Anggreni? King Amiluhur asked skeptically. You are correct, my dear brother, said Rara Suci. That is what Panji told me himself. The king shook his head in disbelief. Didn't Panji marry Anggreni to be his concubine? Rara Suci did not answer her brother's question. Instead, she turned to the turtle dove's cage swaying in the wind. Isn't Anggreni only Panji's concubine? King Amiluhur repeated his question. No, she's not just a concubine. Rara Suci avoided the king's eyes. She's more than that to him. No, Anggreni is Panji's concubine. Nothing more than that. King Amiluhur grumbled as if speaking to convince himself. I hope that my brother in Kadiri doesn't think that Anggreni is Panji's official wife, let alone his queen. That afternoon, the palace hall was quiet indeed. The king's words were commandments that could not be refuted. The usually refreshing scent of incense now suffocated Rara Suci. She silently compared the warm atmosphere of Panji's residence with the chilly atmosphere of the palace hall now surrounding her. I was unable to weaken Panji's resolve. Rara Suci's voice faltered. He still doesn't want to marry Sekartaji. Rara Suci was gravely concerned about the disaster this might cause. You are not saying that he refuses to marry Sekartaji, are you? That's exactly what I'm saying. Amiluhur's face turned red and his body stiffened. He straightened his back. With a voice trembling with rage, he said, I ask you to summon Panji to your residence in Pujangan. Alone. When? Next week. Next week? How about in a month? I just talked to him. The next full moon would be a perfect time to send for him. It would make sense then when I tell him that I miss him. Next week, Amiluhur shouted. Next week, I will summon him and say that his aunt is waiting for him in Pujangan. As you wish. I will expect Panji to visit me at Pujangan in a week. Rara Suci trembled as he tried to hold back the pain her younger brother's tone of voice had caused. She didn't hide her resentment for being expected to summon Panji to her residence, nor did she ask why she needed to. Her guess of the reason made the hermitess cringe. She left without saying goodbye. Amiluhur, still furious, paid no attention to Rara Suci's leaving.
Thank you very much, Oni. That was a very nice reading. Thank you.
Thank you indeed. So this portion of our presentation is going to be a discussion between myself and Leanne and June and Oni. If you have questions yourselves, please do put them in the chat and we will get to the ones that we can to at the end of our discussion. Because we do want this, again, we can see everybody's faces, which is so lovely. So we want to make this somewhat interactive if we can, but I also want to just be mindful too that both Oni and June, English is their second language. I'm super grateful they're doing this in English for us, so thank you. So it'd probably be easier if you do put them in the chat, and that way they can see them. It just helps with, with understanding the question fully. So thank you, I appreciate that. So let me get rid of the spotlight on Oni so he can see everybody. Just realize all you're hearing is my voice. Sorry. Zoom. Sorry, just 1 second. I apologize. I have to. Where are you? There you are. Nope. I'll remove spotlight. There we go. Great. Okay, so I have a few questions. The first one is for Leanne. Leanne, this is the second time that you have chosen to publish one of June's novels. What makes you two work so well together?
Yeah, and you hosted June's Dasamuka too, remember?
Yes, I do.
Yeah. That was in 2019. Can you imagine?
I know.
Yeah, the time goes so fast.
It does.
So by the way, that novel went on to win the 2020 Best Novel Literary Award from the Indonesian Ministry of Culture and Education. I told you that, right?
Yes, you did. And that's right.
Yeah. So
He
as
seems
for
to
your-
win awards always.
I
Lots of
know,
awards.
I know. So as for your question,
Mhm.
I guess June and I are aware of the fact that we are working toward the same goal of sharing our stories with the rest of the world. But that's my take on it. June, what do you think? Why do you think we work well together? Can you spot him now, Cynthia?
Yes, I can.
Good.
Yeah, like you
Good.
said, Ibu Lian, we have the same purpose. And while we don't know how the American readers will accept Indonesian literature, we have to do our best to introduce it.
That's right. That's right. So we keep on working, right, June?
Yeah.
Yes. How many words, June, on your new novel? How many words?
How many words?
Yeah.
What do you mean, Ibu?
You're writing a new novel right now.
Oh, this is the fourth, Ibu.
What?
The fourth.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, how many
Yes.
words are you in the manuscript?
Oh, more than 18.
18 more than how many thousand?
18,000.
How
Yeah,
many?
18,000.
18,000.
80,000, more than
80,000.
80,000.
80,000. Good
Yes.
for you. You're almost at the end. Good for you. Good.
This
Okay.
is what makes Leanne such a great publisher. She's very motivating. Extremely motivating person. My next question is actually for Oni. What are the challenges of translating Indonesian into English? Please.
Thank you, Cynthia. Of course, my first language, my mother tongue, is not English. So no matter how careful I am, it is very easy to miss something. That's why I cannot be too careful in checking the dictionaries and especially the collocation. Working on Panji's quest, I had to be very careful also not to use modern English, since this novel tells a story from the 12th century. So I cannot let an English slang, a modern slang slip in.
No, yes. Or hays. Okay.
Yeah.
Can you kind of maybe tell us? I'm sure there's a lot that's lost in translation.
Yes.
What's some of the quality that's lost?
Yes, of course. There are many Japanese terms in the original Indonesian version that flavors the work with the ancient Japanese atmosphere. However, it proved to be impossible to transpose these Javanese terms into English prose without encumbering the text. Yeah. While I've given my best to capture the story's inherent Javaneseness, but I still, some of it still lost in translation.
It's always going to be true. It is really readable, though. I highlight this one. It reads so well. So thank you. And then finally, were you familiar with this folktale before you had an opportunity to translate it?
Yes, I am. There are many versions of the Panji stories. Panji cycle, the entire collection. Yeah, I was only familiar with the most popular one though, Panji Semirang. Yeah, the main characters are the same, but the plots of these two stories are quite different. The fact that Panji Anggreni Palembang, which is the version used by Jun to write the Panji's quest, it is not as well known as the popular version. And this makes this old story quite interesting, even for Indonesian readers.
Thank you so much. Yeah, this is new for me. So this is a new folktale for me, or literature for me. So I think it'll be new for a lot of people in the United States. So thank you again for bringing it to us. Leanne, back to you. So after 10 years of publishing, or nearly 10 years of publishing, what trends do you see coming up in Indonesian literature?
What trends do I see in Indonesian literature? Well, a lot of it is like writers today are very ecological conscious, and that is a good thing because there are a lot of our forests that are being mowed down for really no other reason than a very small part of the population getting filthy rich, while not only the small people around there are suffering, but it impacts the entire world because we have rainforests and all of that impacts the whole ecological system of the world. There's also a trend that is going for indigenous cultures. And then there is always the interreligious relation. And of course, we are the largest Muslim country. There is the Islamic identity that people are intrigued with and writing about.
I think I missed. Oh, I'm sorry. I did. I apologize. I missed a question for June. I apologize, June. I was supposed to come after Oni because I wanted to know, how do you approach updating or modernizing a classic piece of Indonesian literature?
Thank you, Cynthia.
Thank you.
As an author and also a teacher, I believe that writing something new is important. However, I also believe that there are some ancient writings which will be regrettable loss if we simply forget them. I therefore often weave old stories into my work. This enables the new generation, especially high school and college students, to enjoy them. For example, when I was writing Tembang dan Perang, I used the Panji Anggreni Palembang story, which was written in 1810. In rewriting the story, I used modern Indonesian grammar and vocabulary. I also adjusted the setting and characters to available, more current archaeological findings. And of course, I also adhered to the element which construct good fictional work.
Thank you. And finally, what themes were most important to you?
Okay, talking about theme,
Yeah, the themes in the book.
Okay. Tembang dan Perang has 3 important themes. The one that carries the story is that the glory of power should not sacrifice the sincerity of love. Panji chooses to marry Anggreni, a commoner, rather than to follow his father's command to marry the crown princess of Kadiri. Tembang dan Perang points out that good spiritual teachers remove themselves from worldly power. Rarasuci, the king's sister, chooses to live as a hermit rather than to be a part of king's court. And last but not least, Tembang dan Perang brings to mind that when the elephants dance, the ants get trampled. In other words, the commoners always get the brunt of a political power struggle. In Tembang dan Perang, Kebo Tendas, a talented artist, becomes the actual victim of the king's order to murder Anggreni.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, Cynthia.
You know, and I asked Leanne already about trends in literature, but what are you interested in writing about in the future? What do you want to write about in your next novel?
I want to write about Sekartaji, actually.
Yeah.
She's the fiancée, something like that, of Panji.
Thank you. What about you, Oni? What do you see as some trends coming up?
Maybe I'll add a little bit about the trends, especially in the popular publishing, not the literary, because you can see that they are almost like 2 different separate markets. Yeah, in the popular books, most of them are populated with the Romance title. Yeah, it is very difficult to a bit difficult to find the other titles in the bestseller list. But I can mention 2 literary works that is quite popular, and it is already published in English, I believe. The first one is Eka Kurniawan, Cantik Itu Luka, translated Beauty is a Wound by Annie Tucker, and this title won the Pen Translation Grant. It is already published in English. The second one is Leila Hudori, Laut Bercerita, The Sea Speaks His Name, published by Random House. Both titles actually has a political settings. Yeah, Eka Kurniawan, the first one, Beauty is a Wound. It is a magical realism novel set around the 1965 communist rebellion in Indonesia. And the second one, Laut Bercerita, The Sea Speaks His Name. The setting is 1998, when Indonesian overthrown the Suharto dictatorship. So political setting is quite popular in Indonesian literary works.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And then, finally, for all 3 of you, what inspires you to keep working, to keep writing? It takes a lot of energy. So, what makes you want to write every day?
June, why don't you answer this first, since you are the author?
Yes.
Thank you. Yeah, I am fond of writing. And the way my writing has been received in the literary world makes me believe that my talent is writing historical fiction. And as I believe that a talent is a gift from God, I need to express my gratitude by utilizing this gift as well as I can.
Thank you.
Oni?
Okay. Literature, either writing or translating, has been my passion for a long time. I think that my passion is fueled by the desire to tell stories. And I especially would like to pass on stories with historical and sociological context as they portray a certain time and certain place. There are so many stories to tell. And like Pak Jun had said earlier, if the stories are not written, they will be lost to the next generation. And of course, as a translator, I can help bring the stories to a wider audience across our borders.
Thank you. And then finally, Leanne.
Well, Dalang's mission from the onset has been to share with the world Indonesia's colorful, albeit often painful history, and its rich culture through story. I feel that the writing we publish is proof of an awareness and an insight that needs to be shared. So I spend 12 hours on the computer.
Leanne has more energy than probably most of us on this in this group right now. And we're so grateful for that energy because thanks to you, we've got at least 10 works available in the United States, hopefully beyond. It'll be available to college students and to high school students to learn about Indonesia at this time of its history. So that's a beautiful thing you've brought to the United States, and we're very grateful. So thank you so much.
Well, thank you, Cynthia, for your support. The going is very difficult.
It's not easy, but it's worthwhile.
Yes, it definitely is.
So at this point, if you've got questions, we can, it probably would be easier, again, like I said, to put them in the chat. I hope some of you will. Or since we do have a lot of people from Indonesia here, oh, somebody just gave us a long question. Lovely. Let's see. Let me see. Could,
Yeah, Cynthia.
yes, are you going to?
Excuse me.
Yeah,
Can I say that
Yes.
for those in Indonesia
yes.
who feel awkward writing that question in English,
Yes.
because a lot of us understand English very, very, very well,
Yes.
but it's harder to express yourself
Of course.
in a foreign language. Please write it in Indonesian, and then someone amongst us will field it.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
But
Yeah,
I was going to suggest the reason why we wanted partially to write them down was for our author and for Oni, for June and for Oni, because it's hard. I don't want to put them on the spot where they don't understand the question. But since they both speak Indonesian, if you care to ask the question in Indonesian, that would be lovely. It would maybe be helpful, Leanne or Oni, if you could maybe translate it to English so people, the people in the US can understand, or who are listening who only speak English will understand what's being asked.
Sure.
So that would be lovely too. So however you want to do it, maybe raise your hand if you want to ask a question out loud. But at the moment we have two in the chat. It's quite lengthy. I'm just going to read it. It's from the consulate, from Pak Deden.
Yay.
Tried.
Good.
Thank you. You're so patient with me. Thank you. He says to, actually, do you just want to say it? Would you like to just say it? Since it's, or I'll read it out loud. To my little knowledge, there are hundreds of ancient manuscripts of the Panji story stored not only in the libraries of Indonesia, but also in those of several surrounding countries, such as Malaysia, Thailand, and even the Netherlands and in England. In the National Library of Indonesia themselves, there are about 76 manuscripts of the Panji folklore stories. Could Pak Junaedi explain as to why you prefer this particular story rather than the others? This version of the story. I don't know, maybe Oni or Leanne, could you maybe translate that to get the gist?
Let Pak Dadan do it himself.
Okay.
He's perfectly capable
Oh,
of
that's
speaking
true.
Indonesian.
I
Pak
know, I'm
Dadan tolong
sorry.
dong.
Oh,
Pak Dadan.
For trying to read my question, it's actually addressed to Pak Junaedi. It's a very interesting novel. I think when I was a little kid, I heard some of the stories of Panji. It's all about love and sacrifice, and I believe that there are some people saying, what type of person are you? Then they said, I'm a lover instead of a fighter. But with regard to the love and sacrifice, if people don't fight for love, what type of love do you have? So I guess this book also tells us about love and sacrifice. And thank you very much for the explanation, Pak Junaedi, and also Bulian is a very encouraging explanation that you gave to us, and also the new ones that you provided, geography, politics, social circumstances that might affect the context of why probably the author prefers this particular story. And I think it is confirmed by Paoni, just said that there are a number of versions of the story of Panji itself. Then I'm also wondering as to why the author Pak Junaedi prefers this particular story rather than other hundreds of manuscripts that are available. And Bulian, thank you also. I would like to convey my deep gratitude to you and your team for continuously promoting Indonesian literature in the United States and surrounding countries. And I believe also this book is available in some book shops in Canada. I believe I was told by Pak Agam, and I think Bulian as well, when we had a very fruitful meeting in your beautiful residence. and that's the thing that I've been wondering, Pak Junaedi, why this particular story did you choose particular story rather than other?
Yeah, I see. But then thank you for your question. Frankly speaking, in this case, I rely on Prof. Purbo Charoko's statement that the best Panji story is Panji Anggreni Palembang, according to Prof. Purbo Charoko. I think he's very reliable source. I believe in him. So to me, after I tried to read also the others Panji story, I think he is correct. The best Panji story can be found in Panji Anggreni Palembang. This is my answer, Pak Deden.
Deanne, do you want to ask yours out loud, or would you rather?
Yes, please.
Okay, thank you.
Read my question.
Okay, so Deanne was she was curious with some majas on the book. Can we get some examples? I'm not sure what a maja is, but maybe Leanne knows.
Maksudnya apa, Dian?
Majas is figure of speech.
Oh,
Oh, Majas.
Well, that's my bad pronunciation, sorry.
Yeah.
There's a question for, I guess she wanted, are there some examples of figure of speeches, Oni, that you can think of, or?
Actually, I'm not really sure
Okay.
what kind of figure of speech that she referred to. Or maybe Budian can say something, either in Bahasa Indonesia or in English is fine.
I don't understand her question. Dian, maksudnya apa sih?
Bisa.
Kan saya belum baca bukunya, Bu.
Loh, kalau nggak baca bukunya kok bisa bertanya? Yang benar aja dong. Ih. Ngocehnya nggak beres. Dian's question is invalid. She has not read the book, so she cannot ask questions.
Oh, Leanne. Okay, tough love. We have a question.
You got that right. It's tough love.
Pak Oni. This is for you, Pak Oni. Translating each sentence accurately for meaning takes a lot of skill, but there is also a question of tone and feeling that the author conveys. What can you say about your process for conveying the tone or feeling in your translation?
Yes, it is a very good question. I'm going to repeat what my translation teachers said. And he's also a dramatist, actually, my teacher. And he told us like this. First, you have to live the novel. You just make it into a play. You play the character. Yeah. Of course, first in original language, you play the character, you feel the character, read it like a dramatic reading. After that, after you understand the characters, you leave the character, then you can rewrite it in the other language, in the target language. Wow. Then you can get the correct tone. That's the process.
He is very right.
That is wonderful. Do you do that for the short stories? Do you do as well?
Yes, yeah. For the short stories, of course, it is much easier. The time is, it is like running a sprint compared to running a marathon. Yeah, for the novel is.
I want to do a plug for that, for Leanne's website, for Dalong Publishing's website. She has, I think, about 50 short stories.
49 exactly.
49 short stories on her website for free, side with the Indonesian and the English side by side, featuring a wide range of authors.
44.
Yes, she has, men, women, young people, somebody who's 12, I believe,
yes.
Related to June. Or maybe she was 12 when she wrote it. She may not be 12 anymore. So, and it's just a wide breadth of voices from Indonesia, and it's a wonderful opportunity for anybody in the United States to dive in. And Oni is responsible for translating about about 6 of those. So we're he's contributed a lot to the website. So it's just such a gift. It's a gift. So thank you. And Julie Anderson said, thank you, Oni. That was a very interesting answer. It was unexpected, actually. So thank you. But I never thought about it. It makes such perfect sense. Is there anything else? Is everybody getting shy? It is getting late too for some people. Well, maybe not for Indonesians, but does any more questions?
Is Sylvia still there? Sil, don't you have anything to say? Or Mel?
Leanne, did you scare everybody?
Yeah, it scared me because I haven't read the book.
Oh. Well, do you have anything to say about the short stories then, maybe?
Maybe I've always been curious about the Panji stories. There are so many of them, Um, the they're also found in Thailand and Cambodia. And I wonder if but Junaedi, for example, has come across some of the stories, some of the Panji stories that are told in Thailand or Cambodia, because I find that a very interesting phenomenon.
Let me interject here for a minute for you who do not know Sylvia Tiwon. She teaches at UC Berkeley. She teaches Indonesian culture. Yes, Sylvia. What is your official title now? Excuse me.
They don't, it's just Southeast Asian studies.
Southeast Asian studies. Okay, so that's why I was hoping she would have to say something about the subject, but apparently you have been buried in work and not been able to get to the book.
Yeah,
So-
no, I have read a lot of other Panji stories.
Yeah, but not our.
But not
Mm.
this one. Yeah.
Uh,
And I was just wondering if Pak Junaidi had seen any of the Cambodian or Thai versions. That they're also performed as shadow play
Oh,
and then dance theater also in Thailand and Cambodia. So this is just an addition to, to placing the novel, that it engages a very interesting literary phenomenon, I think, where stories can travel, where stories are traveling. Nowadays, we think everything travels on the internet. But way in ancient times, these stories were traveling. These stories were interconnected, and they show what an amazing culture that you have in Southeast Asia that doesn't necessarily take things just from India or China, but these are indigenous Southeast Asian creations. So basically, that's just something I'd like to add.
Thank you, Sylvia.
Why the Panji is such an important cycle of stories.
Thank you, Sylvia. Mel, Mel was showing up there. Mel, and
Yeah.
can
you hear me?
Yes. Yes, we can hear you.
Mel,
No.
No.
No, I was
There
saying
you
that
are.
Melanie Gronda wants to say something.
No, but why don't you go first, and then we go to the Melanie Gondel.
I would like actually to ask Lian to talk about the future of the SS, the short story that Dalang has on the website. Would you break the news a little bit, Lian, so that we know something about it?
You're fishing, Mel, in
Yes,
in
please.
very shallow water. Okay.
It's okay.
Are you trying to have me talk about what we are doing with it right now? Is that
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
The people can expect anything, and
Okay. So right now, we are putting all the stories in book form as a celebration of Dalang's 10th anniversary this year. And it is a big headachy job. But, at the end, it will be, I think, something that, I'm going to say it, I'm going to be proud of. And it is something that is in hand. You can hold it. It is a testament of 10 years of Dalang's struggles. Because if you really read the short stories, you can also see Dalang's progression in, you know, the translation, the choice of stories, the way it has been handled. It shows more on the website than it will be in the book, I think, because in the book we have re-edited the whole thing, and now it is more uniform, and like I know now quite a bit more, I hope to say, than I did 10 years ago about Bahasa Indonesia. Mel is one of the people who has known me when I could not speak one word of my own language. Yeah, Mel?
Yes. Yeah, it's so wonderful.
Yeah, and it shows in the stories. So, but okay, what else, Mel? Your
Sorry,
contribution.
it's enough. I think it's time for Melanie Grandel to speak up.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I was actually still thinking about Panji's Quest. When I was reading it, of course, I'm reading it with the American or European point of view. So I actually had a feeling I was seeing like a theater play before me, and I could just see this happen on a theater stage, and that was nice to hear that these stories were originally told as shown as plays. And I was wondering if is this in this story or in most Panji stories, is this a young man in the bloom of his life gets trials and hardships, and then becomes through this case also warlike actions. He becomes a wiser, in this case, I think a wiser warrior and king. Is this the kind of trend of most Panji stories?
Can Oni or June speak to that?
Okay, perhaps I'm first, perhaps.
Yeah, you are.
Yes, I think Melanie. Yeah, thank you for your what is it? I think you're right in this case that this is the main themes of Panji story. You're right, but each story I think has its own emphasis. Its own emphasis. So Panji's Quest has its own emphasis also. So perhaps it is a little bit the same, but the emphasis quite different, I think. So you need all of them.
Can you give us, June?
All of them.
June,
Yeah.
Can you give us just one example? The emphasis in your Panji story, in the Mang dan Perang, is what? And then give me another story with a different emphasis.
Yes. The emphasis in Panji's Quest is the fate or the destiny of commoners. For example, Kempu Tendas, a talented artist, becomes the actual victims of the cruelty of the king's order. This is the fate of the commoner. Perhaps this the emphasis of Panji's Quest.
That's true.
Other story can be the love story, the emphasis. The love story itself.
Which story? Yang mana?
Yeah, for example, Chandra Kirana, wrote by, let me see, Ayu Prosidi. Yeah, the emphasis, I think, is the love story.
Yeah.
I like to talk about the commoner. Yes.
Yeah.
I think this is my answer, Melanie. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
What, Oni?
Do you feel that the commoner is right now more in our current interest, if you look at an enormous set of stories, is that a theme that you think that you want to choose to highlight among all those stories for our time?
You know, now in the era of democracy,
Mhm.
yeah. So in the era of democracy, I think the commoners is very important, the role of commoners. So to me, it is quite, what is it? Quite suitable right now to emphasize the role of commoners.
Yeah.
At least related to the democracy era now.
Yeah, that's an international wish.
Yeah. The value of a tram and comparing the value of professor, I think just the same in the democracy.
Thank you.
Related to the number. See?
Thank
Yes.
you. All right. Is there anybody else?
I think
I think we have time for one more.
Bu Sylvia, I think you are also right, Bu Sylvia Tiwon. Your statement are correct.
Oh,
Yeah, your statement are correct. I just want to add one more phenomena, perhaps. There is now what's so-called Panji's Festival. Yeah, around Southeast Asia.
Yeah, that's right.
And I think the leader or what shall I say, the leader or the promoter is Prof. Wardiman Joyonegoro, the former of Education and Culture Minister.
Yeah,
I just want to say
that's really important. And I also want to point to one interesting sub-theme. It's actually a very important theme in the whole Panji cycle, and that is the role. It's not just Panji, the male, but it's also the female.
Yes.
The female, usually it's Chandra Kirana, or there are different names, but
you wait for my next
together and then they part. But
wait for my
the
next novel.
story, okay, good, because the story doesn't only follow the exploits of the male, of the prince, but it follows the female as well. And she dresses up as a male, and then she fights wars, she kills horrible demons, and then she has
So
to
there is
get married. She gets the princess.
Panji's quest, and that's perhaps Sekartaji's quest, perhaps.
Right.
I'm writing about
that's really good.
Sekartaji now.
That's an important part of the whole Panji thing, I think, and that makes it quite unique.
Yes,
people always
you're
think
right.
about, Ramayana, Mahabharata, but this is even actually more. It's more accessible, I think, to a modern audience because
you're right. You're right.
Yeah.
If you think that in Panji's,
I'm really grateful actually that you are right.
If you think that in Panji's quest, I'm not very, what is it? That is something that you say that Panji's role is more powerful than the role of Sekartaji, something like that. So my next novel is about the role of Sekartaji.
Sekartaji, that's really wonderful.
Sekartaji will be the main character. So it will be a couple. Panji's quest, perhaps. Sekartaji quest. According to Bulian.
That's
depend on
wonderful.
Bulian.
Thank you so much, Pak Jun.
Depend on Bulian.
Kok nempel?
Yeah. So there is a couple later on. Panji and Sekartaji. Thank you, Bu Sylvia. You encourage me to write.
Yeah. Maybe I'll write something about your novels then. When that one comes out.
Oh, thank you very much.
I can write something about them.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
You can use them in your classes, Cynthia.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a question that's written in Leanne, for if you look in the chat.
How do I do that? Wait.
Or maybe if you go to the chat, it's from Umar.
Umar, yeah.
But sorry, I apologize.
Umatamren.
Tamren. Thank
Uh-huh.
you. I can't, it's in Indonesian, so you're gonna have to look
Where
at
is
it.
it? I
If you
can
look in the chat, you should see the chat.
yeah, I
still.
go to chat and then
And then just scroll, it's the last question.
I go
On the
to
chat.
That's not a
and it is
question.
last sama-sama bulian. Terima kasih mana ko agam yang keluar.
Said that's not a question, Ibu.
Oh, okay, I'm
It's an
sorry.
appreciation.
Ko agam yang keluar. So berdua umat taman sama-sama mengasih. Enggak. That's not a question. That
Okay.
yeah, he's just chatting with me. But he
Oh,
put it
I
in,
apologize. Sorry.
No. He put it in everybody, so that's not yeah.
Okay. So I'm trying to be mindful of time for the US. It's about 9:30 here. I'm sure that everybody in Indonesia probably has to start getting ready for lunch. It's rolling into lunchtime, isn't it there? Or
Yeah,
brunch?
it's 11:30 there. It's 11:30,
Okay.
yeah.
I am so grateful once again for everybody for gathering and coming a little bit later for us. Thank you so much, Leanne and Oni, and of course, I'm gonna try it one more time. Junaedi Setiyono.
You did good.
I thank you so much. We're so privileged to have you here and sharing your stories with us and your wonderful spirit. You're a lovely person, and thank you for coming tonight. We appreciate it. So thank you. Yay.
Thank you very much, everyone. Terima kasih banyak ya yang dari tanah air yang udah bergabung, dan everyone in the US. Cynthia and I are both very, very grateful for your support. This was a first for the four of us. Yeah. Well, let me think. Yeah. June has been on Zoom for a book fair in the US when we had the big West Valley.
Tri-West.
Yeah, Tri-West book fair. Yeah, thank you, June. Yeah. But other than for Oni and June together as a team, this is a first, and I hope it won't be a last. Thank you again, Cynthia, for doing this very special event for us. We appreciate very much. Thank you. And Pak Deden, terima kasih loh, Pak Deden, for your time. I know that you are a very busy man, and we feel very honored that you are here. Mel, thank you very much, because I know how busy you are. Pak Eka, terima kasih ya. Thank you very much for giving us your attention. Who else?
My great pleasure.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mel. Who else was here? Julie Anderson, yeah.
Virginia.
Julie, thank you. Pour, makasih ya, Bian, Karen and Steve are, I thank those guys, because without them, I cannot be here because they take care of my muscles. Who else? Who else is here? Siapa lagi ya? Can I have a roll?
Virginia C.
Yeah, Virginia. Where is Virginia? Virginia, thank you very much. I appreciate it. As usual, your support is very, very appreciated. Virginia is the librarian for UC Berkeley, and she has all of Dalang's books. Virginia.
Burlingame has her books as well, so if you
yes,
happen to be in Burlingame, you can also get the books here.
you can borrow them from Cynthia. That's right.
And
I
one
think
last time, if you wanted an opportunity for the door prize, please do send it. I'm going to put it.
you're gonna close this.
Yeah, we're going to
gonna
close it, but
close
I'm
it
just
that soon.
sending it the email one more time in case you want to cut and paste it, and then you can email your information directly to
Yeah.
Alan
So,
Publishing, which is
let
essentially
me-
Leanne. It's essentially Leanne. You're emailing Leanne because it's a how many
Publishing.
how many people do you have like in your core?
Except for you could you just cut out. What did you say, Cynthia?
Oh, don't worry about it. It's okay. It's okay. Anyways, is there?
Yeah, I wanted to repeat.
Okay.
So the publishers' offerings
Mhm.
were both the publisher of the original, which is Peter Canisius in Yogyakarta.
Still with us?
Thank you very much for your support of this event. And Dalang, we are both offering one book of each publication, Panji's Quest, as well as Tembang dan Perang, for people who were present at this event tonight. And that's why it's important that we have your email and your name and where you are located. Okay, either in US or in Indonesia. And then send it to dalangpublishing@gmail.com, because I don't want to burden Cynthia more than we have already with having to pour through these emails. So, and then, if you sign up for it via the same email, and the emails have to be dated today, which is in America, June the 1st, or tomorrow, which is in America, June the 2nd. In Indonesia, it will be June the 2nd and June the 3rd. This is for Indonesia. Emails from the US that come in on June the 3rd will be discarded. Emails for Indonesia, June the 2nd and the 3rd will be honored. After June the 3rd, June the 4th, they will be discarded. So just understand that. And this is for signing up for the door prize, which is a copy of the book, or for the discount in Indonesia only and in the US only. We cannot be selling internationally. The shipping costs are prohibitive.
Okay, I think you were super clear, so I appreciate that. I think
Okay,
everybody
so the
understands.
Indonesian price for the discount is 92,000 rupiah. The discount price for the Panji's Quest is $15, no shipping, no taxes.
Thank
Alrighty,
you.
that's
It's
all.
very generous. Thank you. And again, we'll do one final good night and or good day for the people in Indonesia. We again appreciate your time and have a lovely evening. This will be up on YouTube in a few days. Okay, thank you. Good night.
Good night. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, everyone.